Hello, my name is Nicholas Collinson and I'm a technical consultant at Trimble UK. Today we will be looking at Visualizer within Tekla Structures. I will be demonstrating how to render your model in Visualizer as well as changing the textures that are already used and also importing your own custom materials as well as some other features. Before we get started, you can use the control panel on the right hand side to interact with us. Please ask questions in here. Questions will be answered at the end of the webinar. Please also view the webinar in the full screen mode to get the optimal experience. The button is shown here on the control panel on the right hand side. For the first part of the webinar, what I will be doing is putting in some basic Tekla items and then applying some existing textures that are pre-built within the visualizer just to show you what those look like, and then later on we will look at mapping our own custom textures to items. This is what I've got set up already in the model. We'll go through the process and then I can show you what they look like within Tekla Structures themselves. Only a small selection here. Obviously the profiles can go as far as you want them to for the materials that you actually find. So initially we will just start off with a simple concrete panel. So just draw that into the model. And the way that the visualizer works is that you map material grade within Tekla, which is here, to a material picture to give it an actual texture within the visualizer itself. So this panel here is C90. The visualizer itself lives under the View and the Visualize toolbar, and you've got three options. Visualize selected will visualize just the item that you've got selected. Visualize all will visualize the entire model all in one go. And visualizer material type mapping will take us into the mapping settings that allow us to assign a material grade to a custom or a default profile texture. So if I arrange this by name, scroll down to C90, which is what this panel is, I can then see all of the different material mapping types that I have available in here. These first ones here, down to water, are the default ones that come pre-installed within Tekla. The ones that I've added to the bottom here, which we'll be going through, we'll add our own later on. These are the ones that I've added as custom material maps. Okay, so for this concrete panel, I'm just going to leave it as the default concrete built-in Tekla one. Hit OK on that, and then I'm just going to visualize this selected item. So that will open up the Trimble Connect visualizer, which comes in as a different window. And if I zoom into this item, into this panel, we can see that the default concrete texture has been added to the item. So I will now just add a few more items onto here and put some different existing textures on there, just to see a few different ones. So the next thing I will add is a concrete slab. Set the material grade to C25, and again within my visualizer mapping catalogue I can search for C25 and we'll set it to asphalt. When this message comes up, we'll just say no to this. This just keeps the visualizer settings local to this model. Pick those two items and we'll just re-visualize this to see those changes. So that's kept my concrete panel in there with the concrete finish, and now I've added a concrete slab with the asphalt finish in there, just to show you that. And then what I can also do is I can start layering objects. So if I place another concrete slab on here, bring that to the front, move that down to the edge there, reduce the depth, and what I'm going to do is just change this one to something like grass. So again, we'll just differentiate the material, so we'll go for C55 this time, and again we'll change the C55 material to grass. So set that, OK, no, pick these three items, visualize selected, just make sure that's set to 55, visualize selected, there we go. So we've got another texture on top of our existing slab there, so you don't need to start sort of shortening the slab and then adding another texture in the model. You can just leave the structure as it is and just draw a thin extra layer on the top of that, just to sort of put another layer on there if you want to add a texture on top of another item. So for the final addition to the existing textures one, the default textures within Visualizer, I'll just show you how you can add a different shape to the texture. At the minute we've only just done rectangles and squares there, so I'm just going to add a contour plate. So we'll just go from the corner of here, midpoint, and to the edge. Just bring that one to the front again. And then we can just add our radius onto the edge of there, and again specifying a material grade that we can assign a map to. Visualize FE50 this time, and I'm going to make this light gravel, and again we'll just visualize those selected items. Okay, so you can see the visualizer material map will take on the shape of the plate or whatever it is that you're drawing in, so you can radius corners, you can shape things, and the visualizer will take that into account. Quite useful if you're doing brickwork, you put in a brick pattern on there, you could radius the corners or have an arc or an arch on there, etc. Okay, so the next bit that I'm just going to show now is a couple of other of these different examples that I have set up in the model. These are, again, at the minute, default Tekla mapping textures. Just a couple more examples. So over here we've got a timber example. So these two items here, the slab and the slab here, are just going to be grass and gravel. And then these items here, I've mapped a wood material to the wood finish in the material catalogue. So again, select these items, visualize selected, and this will populate the visualizer with the selected items within here for you to view. So you can see the timber finish on the timber items, and then I've just got a couple of floor finishes there on the floor just to differentiate those. The shadows can be controlled as well. We'll take a look at that shortly. You can change the position of the sun and the height, so you can move that around. It does look quite good if you tie that in with a video as well, if you record the screen as you're doing that, or if you save a set of screenshots and play the screenshot slideshow through whilst you're recording the screen. That can look quite good for presenting to clients or whoever that might be, but we'll look at that shortly. So that was the timber example. We'll just look at this metal one here. So this is just the standard steel finish, which I've just applied to the S275 grade. So I've just got a couple of examples here of different beams, some columns and some bracing. So again, select those, visualize selected. Okay, So this is the standard steel finish within Tekla. And again, when I go through how to change the position of the sun and things, if there are holes in items, such as this cell beam here, the light will pass through there and you'll see the proper shape of the shadow and all that kind of thing. So that was metal. This next one is how to represent glass. So again, glass is in a standard in Tekla. So I've just made the material on these three items glass. And within the visualizer mapping, I've set the glass material there to be the default glass finish within Tekla. This is probably a popular one with people who wanted to show windows on the building, or if you're doing stairs and hand railing, you can show the glass panels. You get quite a nice finish on that. So visualize those. Okay. So I'll come down here first. So you can see straight away we can see through this slab as you would expect from a glass finish. And if I just rotate this around, you can see you get the reflection from the sun there, wherever you've got the sun positioned, and it just looks like quite a nice glass finish on there. I've done an example here with some columns behind, just so you can see the see-through effect there as I rotate around. And then this one here I created with the lofted plate tool within Tekla, just showing again that it can do sort of quite complex shapes and then apply glass finish to those shapes as well, not just your standard square and rectangular things. Okay, so the final one then, before we look at how to map custom properties to items, they're things you can download offline. If you find a couple of websites out there with free textures on there that I used as well to sort of do some of these things that I'll show you in a minute. But this last one here again is in Tekla as standard. And all I'm doing here is representing a stream or a small river, if you like. Again, you could, if there's a river or a stream going past the property or the building that you're doing, it might just be nice to sort of quickly model something in there for screenshots or for a video for the client. So this is just a lofted plate I created with the spline construction lines, join them together to create a plate. Applied a material to it called water. And again, that's just mapped against the standard Tekla water image type. So we'll visualize those. Okay. So I've gone for the grass texture there, and as you can see, the water gets a movement effect, and you can see through it, and it just looks a bit better if you were doing a video or a video slideshow. It just looks that bit nicer. Okay. So now we will take a look at how to assign a custom material type to items within Tekla. So again, as I mentioned earlier, these could be pictures of materials that you found online, or that somebody has a library of, whatever it may be. So the location within Tekla that these need to go for Visualizer to pick these up are within the standard pictures folder within Windows, and then into Trimble Connect Visualizer, and then within textures. These are some examples I've downloaded and dropped into here, and I'll just show you how to now assign these to a specific material grade within Tekla, or create your own material grade and then assign these to that. So the example I'll be showing, because it's quite easy to see, is this wooden flooring finish. So we'll keep an eye on that one. So the first thing I need to do is actually, within Visualizer, create a custom material entity. So I can just pick anything here, Visualize selected. All I want to do now is just open up Visualizer. Okay, so I don't actually need this, I just need to be in this program. And on the left hand side here, we've got the material mapping button here. And on the right hand side, you can see I've already created some custom material maps within there. I'm just going to create a new one now. So the first thing we do is click on this white square. And what this will then do is it will look in the directory that I showed here, into the textures folder. and whatever items you've got in here, it will populate in this list for you to then choose and save away with a name to then assign to a material grade. So I'm going to select the wooden flooring. You can see it populates the image over here, giving us a preview. And I'm going to give it a name, call this wood 2 because I've already got one called wood there. And I'm just going to hit the save button. And that will add this custom material into the list here. Okay, so just remember this name, wood 2. So I can now close this box down. Now I need to decide what material I want to assign this wooden map to. So I'm going to create my own. So under the file menu in the top left hand corner, catalogs, material catalog, I'll drop down miscellaneous. I pick on any of these, it doesn't matter which one you choose. Right click, copy grade, and just give it a name. So I've just added wood flooring as a material grade into Tekla, hit OK, save changes to model folder, OK with that. So I can double click on this item now, browse to the material catalogue. Under miscellaneous, I should see my wood flooring option. Hit modify, and now I just need to map my visualizer material, the custom one that I created, to this new material grid within Tekla. So I'll click on this, sort it by name. It's added the wood flooring into here now because I added it as a custom material grade. And within here, I should see my wood 2 material map. Press the set button, hit OK. Say no to this, I want to keep it local to this model. And now I'll just visualize these items again. Okay. So it's added the wood map to this item here. What we can also do now, because the scaling of this actually looks, it actually looks quite big for the size of the piece that I've got there. So now that it's actually there and I can see it, what I can do is I can come back into the material button on the left here. I can click on wood 2, and then I can start adjusting any of these properties. These are things like transparency, the scale. If you want to change the colour, you can do that also. So I'll go one way. Press the eye symbol here, and this will then preview the material map in the model for you. If I go the other way, it does apply it to everything when you preview this, just so you can actually see what it looks like. So toggling that on and off will actually do that. It's not until you close this down and rerun it that it will actually apply it to the item there. So you can see that's looking a bit better. If I go higher still on here and preview, you can see it sort of scales the image down and just makes it look crisper and sharper there. Okay, so I'm happy with it at 5, so I'll save that. Close this down. Rerun the visualizer. And that will now use the new scaling, as you can see, on the item I've chosen there. So the final thing that I will run through now is just some of the settings within Visualizer that you can change, such as the sun angle, sun position, and also how to create screenshots within Visualizer, and then create a sort of a slideshow effect that you can then use sort of third-party screen recording capture software to actually capture if you want to produce a video. I'll just use the metal area over here as example. It just gives some nice shadows with the cutouts in the beam. So we can select this area. run the visualizer on the selected objects. And we can see that it does put some shadows on here by default. The sun position is controlled up in the top left hand corner here with a picture of the sun and the clouds, and then you've got different options such as the position in the sky sort of moving around, and also on the left here the height of the sun, sort of sunset to midday with it being straight above. So I'll just quickly show what that looks like as you adjust each one of these, and then we can tie that in with a screenshot in different places and then create sort of a slideshow effect from that. So the first one I'll just show is the moving the sun around. So you can see as I drag this slider bar to the left, the sun moves around. You can see the shadows on the columns at the back and the bracing turning around, and you can see these beams down here generating a shadow on there. We don't get much of a shadow on these because the sun is still quite high on this bar on the left. So I'll leave those there. That's putting the shadows sort of in line with the columns. And then if I adjust this one here, you can see that everything gets brighter as the sun lights everything up. And as I move this down, so as the sun comes lower, the shadows will get longer on the items. And if I just rotate the view around here, we can see the sun is just up there. If I leave this here and pull the sun down, you can see that moving in the distance there, and you can sort of bring it down as low as you want. Rotate that all the way around to the other side, so we get the sun shining from behind us now to that way, and it just rotates as easy as that. Okay, so I'll just reset these to something like a default setting. So what we can do now is create a few screenshots using this screenshot button here in the bottom left hand corner. So we're just positioning the view where we want it, and we're just hitting the little plus symbol on the screenshot here. I can then rotate that around, hit the little plus symbol again. I could bring the shadows down and around, hit the plus symbol again, and if I double click on the first one, the second one or the third one, it will transition me to those separate images. If I hit the play button, it will do a slideshow type effect as it's rotating round, and it will just move to the different positions. To play the slideshow with the sun in effect, you actually need to hit this little button here with the play symbol with the sun on the edge. This here is the seconds between the transition, so it'll take 10 seconds to move from one picture to the other. So I've hit that now, press play, so it will start off in the default first screenshot, move to the second one, and as it transitions into the third one, because I have the sun in effect here, it will play to the end of that slide with the sun where you move that around. Okay. Another good feature that I can show you within Visualizer is what we call skyboxes. So this is the background effect that you can put onto the background of the Visualizer itself. So the pictures themselves are stored under Pictures within Windows, Trimble Connect Visualizer, and then the skyboxes folder just there. So these are just some examples that I've got. These basically need to be 3D or panoramic pictures. So I'll just show some of these now and how they look within Windows. So these are just your standard 3D or panoramic photos. The higher quality they are, the better the result will be within Visualizer. So to use these, we just run the Visualizer as we normally would. And what we get then in the top left hand corner is this picture of the clouds and the sun, and we can also then see the skyboxes populate up in the top here. So again, I'll just flick through each one just to show you the different examples that we have, and then I'll show you a little tip how to position the item or your model within there just so it looks right and it looks to scale. I've just clicked on this first one here, and you can see it's put the backdrop on there. So one of the first things you'll notice when you're moving around the model now and zooming in and out is that the picture actually stays where it is. It doesn't scale, it doesn't zoom in and out as your model zooms in and out, as you can see there. When we rotate, the picture obviously rotates in the background, but when we zoom in and out, the picture just sort of stays where it is. So the trick to this is positioning the model in the environment that you want it in, but getting it to scale and zooming in and out so that it sort of looks correct in the context of the picture. Most of the time people will be using these, maybe they'll do a panoramic picture of the site where the building is going to be built, so you could then use that to position your Tekla model within there to show the client how the building might look, etc. So a couple more here. So I'll just position the model there, and you can see how you can get it looking right and scaled right just in the context of the picture. If I rotate around now, you can see if it was somewhere over here it would probably look wrong. It's just a case of positioning your model like so, and then just zooming in to sort of scale it so it fits within the context of the building there. Hopefully that's been interesting. Please feel free to ask questions now, and I will do my best to answer those. Anything I can't answer, I will email the individual with an answer when I get that. Thanks for listening.